My family called asking me to help pay for my brother's lawyer. I asked what happened. They said he was suing me. I waited for the punchline. There wasn't one. 3 days later, his lawyer called me directly. My name's Ethan. I'm 34. And if you told me a year ago that my own brother would try to sue me while asking me to pay the lawyer doing the suing, I would have laughed in your face. I would have offered you water and asked if you were feeling okay. But here we are. Life has a strange way of turning absurd jokes into reality. I grew up outside Knoxville, Tennessee. My parents believed family was everything, which really meant family was an excuse to avoid setting boundaries. My older brother Ryan was the golden child, football star, popular, the kind of guy adults instantly loved. I was the quiet one. I liked reading, building things in the garage, getting decent grades that nobody really celebrated. My childhood wasn't tragic. My parents loved me, but there was always an understanding. Ryan was the main event, and I was background noise. When he scored touchdowns, everyone drove hours to watch. When I won the regional science fair, my mom said, "That's nice, honey," and went back to ironing his jersey. After high school, Ryan got a football scholarship. Sophomore year, he blew out his knee, dropped out, and came home. Instead of rebuilding his life, he stalled. He moved back in with our parents, worked random jobs that never lasted, and spent years figuring things out. Nobody seemed bothered. Meanwhile, I went to community college, transferred to the University of Tennessee, and earned a civil engineering degree. I started at a firm in Nashville and spent 8 years climbing the ladder. By 30, I was managing major construction projects. I bought a house. I met my wife, Claire, an ER nurse who could read people faster than anyone I knew. We got married 2 years ago. Life was good. But being the responsible sibling in a family like mine turns you into the bank. It starts small. Mom needs help with a dental bill, Dad's truck needs repairs, Ryan needs money for rent while he gets back on his feet. Over 4 years, I gave my family around $45,000. Claire tracked it all in the spreadsheet. At first, I thought she'd made a mistake. She hadn't. The money wasn't what bothered me most, it was the attitude. Every time I helped, it felt like they believed I owed them. Ryan loved saying, "Must be nice." New car? Must be nice. Vacation? Must be nice. Promotion? Must be nice to have a job that pays. I ignored it for years. Then came the car flipping phase. Ryan started buying junk cars to fix and resell. On paper, it sounded fine. In reality, he bought cars he couldn't afford to repair and stored them on property he didn't own. Each failed attempt ended with him asking me for more money. After the third collapse, he asked for $15,000 to fund another batch of cars. For the first time in my life, I said no. The silence on the phone lasted 10 seconds. "So that's how it is. I'm not worth 15 grand to you?" he said. I explained it wasn't about his worth, it was about the pattern. He hung up. 2 weeks later, my mom called. Her voice had that fragile tone she used when delivering bad news. "Ryan's in a situation. He needs help with legal fees." I asked what happened. She paused. "He's suing you, sweetheart." Apparently, Ryan believed I owed him money from a business partnership, and they wanted me to pay for his lawyer. I hung up. 3 days later, the lawyer called. His name was Martin Keller. He calmly informed me Ryan was suing for $200,000. The claim, a verbal partnership agreement for the car flipping business. According to Ryan, I'd promised to fund the operation and then abandoned it, causing financial losses and emotional distress. Emotional distress? My brother had the emotional range of a ceiling fan. I told the lawyer there had never been a partnership. Every dollar I gave Ryan was a gift. He politely said I'd receive the official paperwork soon. When I told Claire, she closed her eyes and said, "Tell me that again slowly so I know exactly how angry to be." The lawsuit claimed the $12,000 I'd given Ryan 2 years ago was an investment, not a gift,
and that I'd promised to keep funding the business. None of it was true. But even a ridiculous lawsuit costs money to defend. I hired an attorney named Laura Chen. She reviewed the case and told me it was legally creative, which is lawyer speak for nonsense. Still, it meant months of legal fees. Meanwhile, my family began pressuring me to settle. My mom called constantly. My aunt said I was tearing the family apart. Not one person acknowledged that Ryan started the lawsuit. Then I learned my parents had taken a home equity loan on their house to fund Ryan's legal fees. I drove to their house immediately. "Do you realize you could lose this home?" I asked. My mom cried. Not because of the loan, because I was being mean to Ryan. That's when something inside me snapped. I left and decided I was done being the family ATM. For months, I cut contact with everyone. The silence hurt more than I expected, but Claire stood by me through everything. She organized every financial record I had, bank statements, Venmo transfers, texts where Ryan thanked me for helping him out. 47 pages of documentation. Laura looked at the file and said, "Your wife should be a paralegal." The messages proved a clear pattern: gifts, not investments. Meanwhile, I focused on work. I threw myself into a massive development project and ended up getting promoted to associate partner. Claire and I built a real life together. Friends, dinners, weekends that didn't revolve around family drama. For the first time, I felt free. About 8 months in, my cousin Lena called from Colorado. She told me things back home were falling apart. Ryan's case was stalling, and my parents were struggling with the loan payments. She wasn't trying to guilt me. She just wanted me to know the truth. At the same time, Laura called with an idea. She said, "We could countersue. Ryan's frivolous lawsuit had cost me thousands. We could pursue damages and legal fees." I discussed it with Claire. She took a sip of wine and said, "Your brother lit a fire in your yard and complained about the smoke. Maybe it's time he feels some heat." That was enough for me. We filed a counterclaim seeking $85,000. My mom called in tears the same day. "You're destroying your brother," she said. "He sued me," I replied calmly. "I'm finishing what he started." Discovery began soon after. Ryan had no evidence, no contracts, no emails, nothing. Then I hired a forensic accountant named Daniel Pierce to analyze Ryan's car businesses. The report was devastating. Most of the money I'd given Ryan hadn't even gone toward cars. Some went to a vacation, a new TV, and a home brewing kit he used once. His projected profits were completely unrealistic. Daniel's report stated the claimed income figures bear no relationship to financial reality. Laura added it to our evidence. A week before Ryan's deposition, Lena called again with another revelation. Ryan's girlfriend, Carla, had encouraged the lawsuit. Laura researched her and discovered she'd been involved in 2 similar lawsuits against previous partners. It was a pattern. At the deposition, Ryan looked nervous. Carla sat in the back of the room watching everything. Laura calmly dismantled the case piece by piece. She walked Ryan through every dollar I'd given him. Then she introduced Carla's legal history. Carla immediately stood up and stormed out. Ryan watched her leave with panic in his eyes. 20 minutes after the deposition ended, Laura came into the lobby smiling. She said, "They want to settle." Ryan would drop the lawsuit if we dropped the counterclaim. I thought about the $30,000 I'd spent defending myself. "No," I said, "I want my legal fees back." 3 weeks later, we reached a final agreement. Ryan dropped the lawsuit and agreed to repay $32,000 in legal fees over 4 years. If he missed a payment, the counterclaim could be reinstated. A few months later, I received a handwritten letter from him. He admitted he'd been jealous of me for years and believed I owed him something. When someone validated that belief, he ran with it. He said he was ashamed. I haven't fully forgiven him, but I replied and told him the door was not closed, just mostly shut for now. My parents and I speak occasionally, though things are still distant. As for me, life is good. Claire and I bought a bigger house with a wraparound porch. I made senior partner at the firm. Our lazy beagle still sleeps half the day. I have friends, a community, and a life I built myself. Ryan sends his payments every month. Maybe someday we'll sit on that porch and laugh about this mess. Maybe we won't. But I know one thing for certain. I'm nobody's ATM. And if anyone ever tries to sue me again, I've got a wife with a spreadsheet, a lawyer with a backbone, and an accountant who loves destroying bad math. I think I'll be just fine.